is Lego, and I've got with me Hove, Mana, and Wilson, and our special, very special guest this week. We've got TripleWRECK with us. What's up, man? How's it been going?
It's good. It's good. Happy to be here, and you know, as a Destiny fan, feeling like our spirits are a little bit higher than the last podcast that we did. So
yeah. Yeah,
Dude,
like I was
awesome,
saying,
man.
when we were getting ready, like the tone of this one is just drastically different. I think the first two times were like right after the console beta, where we were like, "Wow, this game is slow. I hope it's not like this." That turned out to be, you know. And then the other time was like in the midst of Curse of Osiris, I think, right? When that was like the low point.
That was the lowest point.
Yeah,
that's real low, man.
Oh boy.
Look how far we've come. Well, I am feeling like slightly like, I know everybody's talking about like, oh, we're feeling encouraged, the state of everything, but with this latest TWAB, guys, like I got something I'm real upset about. I'm not gonna get to it yet. We'll get to it later. But like, I'm hardly ever upset about something, and I've got something that I'm like, what? I just like, I don't know. I've been grinding comp, guys, and I'm upset, I gotta say.
Oh, you'll get over it.
But Triple, we appreciate you coming on the show so much, man. And yeah, we just really appreciate it, dude. What has Destiny been looking like for you lately? Have you jumped into the Solstice of Heroes stuff going on? How's it been going?
Yeah. No, I've been full grind mode lately, doing strike catalysts, you know, farming tokens, did all the Solstice stuff. I've been grinding comp as well. I'm very close to hitting 5,500. So I'm trying to get the Mida Catalyst is the last one I'm looking for, and get the Redrix ornament, because, you know, at least that'll be something that, you know, other people don't have. But you know, it's one of those things where, you know, if you go back, game came out, and after like the new game smell wore off, it's kind of like, okay, so what do we have here? You know, what kind of investment are we gonna put in this game? What's the lasting appeal? And it turned out there just wasn't a whole lot there in terms of the loot system and the gameplay. And then Curse of Osiris comes out, and instead of being what the game needed at the time was like some major structural fixes and improvements, it was just kind of more content. It was just more Destiny 2. And, you know, it's not their fault, because that stuff was already done before any feedback from launch would have been able to be implemented anyway. It's like, yeah, this is rough. A lot of people, including myself, kind of took some time away from the game because just, you know, it just wasn't fun enough to keep playing. Then, you know, the big update came out in April, the Go Fast update and Warmind, and that did bring, you know, some nice improvements to the game. But I started playing more then, and then you know, when we had the Forsaken reveal, and then more recently the Crucible stream, I think that's kind of restored some hype for what Forsaken's going to bring. So yeah, I think everyone's feeling pretty good, and you know, I'm sure there'll be plenty of things that we don't like and that we will complain about, and nothing's ever perfect, but I think like big picture wise, like we're going to be in a really good spot here very soon. So that's it's extremely exciting.
Dude, yeah, absolutely. I was kind of upset with Hove and Wilson and all. Oh, not Wilson. Wilson wasn't on the cast.
Just
last
me?
Week, Hove.
What the hell did I do?
Well, just this last week we got the stream going on, and I just wasn't feeling the hype as much as I thought I would from you guys, because those crispy bow shots last week were insane. Like, I was like, they were two-shotting them, and I was like, oh, that, like, I started getting hyped. Like, the whole week I was listening to all these Destiny podcasts and stuff, and I started just daydreaming at night about, like, what's my loadout gonna be? Like, am I gonna be running a sniper and a hand cannon, or am I gonna be running fusion rifle bow? Like, I couldn't figure it out in my mind, and I was like playing this Tetris game of what weapon am I gonna use, because I was just so excited for the possibilities of, even if this loadout sucked, I could at least try it, and there'd be all these new things or ways to play the Crucible.
Well, first I want to say that I was just reserving all hype for you because I knew how hyped you would be. Okay. Second of all, I just have a question. How I'd like to clarify. You were daydreaming at night. Wouldn't that just be like just dreaming?
Oh, you're right.
Okay, I was just checking. That was like one of the girls that works for me today. Somebody told her something like, "Yeah, I started this at 8 a.m." and she went, "In the morning?" I was like, "No, Mercedes, 8 a.m. at night." Like, yes, it was in the morning. But anyway, completely irrelevant to all things Destiny.
Oh. Man, well, I'm pumped as well, Triple. I've also been grinding out that Solstice of Heroes stuff. Almost got the full Legendary set. I don't know if I'm going to go for the Masterwork set. What about the rest of you guys? Hove, Wilson,
I picked
Mana?
up the armor from, like, the vendors or wherever you get it. That's what I did. Is that how you get it? I don't remember.
You got the green stuff?
Yeah.
That's as far as you got?
Yeah, and then
I got, like, what is it, 12 days left or something like that?
Then I got to the part where all those servitors come at you, and then I haven't done it.
It scarred you. You were done.
What, did that turn you off?
No, I liked that. I just...
Too many servitors.
I don't know, like...
It was like,
I'm done.
It was like little Russian nesting dolls,
Yeah.
man. They just kept popping out of each other.
I mean,
they were
it's
adorable.
It
I want
scared
a
the
little
shit
one,
out of
one
me.
the-
But,
It
like...
terrified him to the
it
point where he
didn't-
stopped.
No. Yeah.
Jump scare.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, look, a servitor, let's all super him, you know, because it's Destiny and that's what you do. And then none of us had anything left and there was 1,000 of them. But that's not why. I don't know, this isn't something, like, I'm all for something to grind for more stuff for people to do, but it's just not something that I want to do. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I'm never going to use that armor after Forsaken comes out, so I just don't feel the need to go for it. Just I don't know, not my thing.
I can respect that.
Well, you don't have a choice, so... But,
Damn.
no, I'm just
No.
mostly playing
We're going
some
there.
PvP as we're going on now. I also have been just randomly going into patrol because I still need to finish my Sturm Catalyst because I love that so much. So other
I
than
still
that,
have yet
just kind
to
of
get
chilling.
one still because
Dude.
I'm lazy.
That one's like pretty. Wait, you haven't gotten the Sturm?
I haven't gotten Drang or Sturm.
Oh my
my
god.
God.
I'm missing a whole lot, to be honest. So
Yeah, you can
okay.
just hold
I don't know.
out.
Seeing TV use it kind of makes me want to grab it just to test it out.
Have you
But
gotten the?
just like-
That's what he does with everyone, dude.
Yeah.
He'll review 2 trash guns, and I'll be like, "Oh my god, like I have those. I'm gonna
I
take
wouldn't
them out
call
of
them
the vault.
trash, but I wouldn't call them any top tier. But you know, it's just like I want to try them out. It's just like the past week or so, I've been just abusing Cold Heart because I had no idea how fun it was until just recently. Like, I don't know if they did anything to it or not, but it absolutely melts. So I've been on a Titan just flying at people like a buffoon, just melting them with Cold Heart. And then today someone tells me to try, Sweet Business.
Sweet Business, yeah.
I had no idea Sweet Business was that fun. So I've been flying around like a buffoon with Sweet Business now.
How
So,
are you using that? Are you like peeking corners with it? Are you like using your Titan Shield or using a Warlock Rift or something like that? Or are you just going to town?
I got
like
that one
normal?
chest piece on that.
Oh, yeah.
Reloads. What is it called? I can't remember what it's called.
Actium
I'm
War
pretty much just
Rig.
pre-firing the crap out of it everywhere I go. I probably sound obnoxious. They can hear me across the map. It's like, there's that one moron that just, revving up Sweet Business.
I'm seeing a trend here. Any kind of a
you know
troll
what?
weapon.
You know what weapon is
has
actually
all
kind
over
of
Yeah.
a dark horse for Forsaken, I think, is going to be Hardlight. Hardlight
Oh.
is surprisingly decent right now, but after we get the time to kill adjustments, I think it's going to be
Oh,
one
really?
of the top weapons because it has no damage fall off. So
Right.
you can be doing serious damage at range, and then it's kind of sounds silly, but the ricochet rounds do bonus damage. So if you're like up close to someone, you can just like shoot the ground and ricochet it up into their body and do tons of damage. And it's kind of troll, but it actually works. And some of us were like using it yesterday in Iron Banner. We're like, hey, this, it's not like a meta weapon right now or anything, but it's I think it's underrated. So
Yeah.
we'll see how it plays
Maybe
in the
that'll-
new update, because it's like crits for like 17 now. Let's go into like 21 or something.
Yeah.
That archetype
Dang.
600 RPM. So yeah, I always enjoy when like major updates come out because it allows you to go back through the entire arsenal and see that some guns might be completely different than what you remember, and they might be a lot stronger, or all that stuff. It just gives a little bit of freshness to the armory.
Absolutely. I'm wondering what weapons are going to come out that are just kind of like stale right now, that will be those like underdogs that are just lying there and you're like, oh, this thing's actually kind of awesome, Does Hardlight have as bad of a camera shake on PC as it does on console? Because I know on console it's like super bad.
It's pretty, it's pretty noticeable for sure. But like once you use it for a while, like you start to get used to it.
Right.
I wish they could tone that down a little bit. Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, it's like about the same on the Richter scale.
The
on
Richter
console
scale.
and PC.
Yeah,
it goes up and down all crazy.
It's an earthquake, all right.
Like a shake weight.
I've had that happen to me where a guy came running around the corner. Just gif it. I've had a guy come running around the corner and just shoot the ground with hard light and just annihilate me with ricochet rounds. And like it was kind of one of those things where you're like, oh, that's kind of bullshit, but at the same time you're like, you can't be mad, like he did that on purpose. And so it was pretty damn funny. Dude got me. I was a little salty about it, but
Of course you are.
I like that fun stuff though. That's cool. Like stuff that makes you play a little bit differently. You know what I mean? And stuff that you got to watch out for.
I think that's how like exotics are best implemented when
doubt.
they, are intrinsically not any more powerful, but they have unique perks or things that allow you to really invest in a play style or something different that works out really well. And then by the same token, I think that the power that the random rolls, the mod system, and the masterworks are going to bring to legendaries in general is going to be just huge for the game, because even in Destiny 1 you would have all kinds of maybe uncommon weapons that could be really just tailored to be unique because of a combination of perks. And like average weapons could become good, and okay weapons could become great with the right set of a roll. So I think that just adds like kind of like a continuous renewal of just kind of possibilities and making things interesting. So it's never like I'm done. Yeah. There's always like, oh, there's another thing out there that I could find and I might like it, and I might be able to play for a whole weekend with this random weapon with a random roll and have some fun with it. So I think that's one of the things I'm looking forward to most, for sure.
Yeah. Is there any like particular weapons with random rolls or mod combination that you're like dreaming of right now, Triple, with like Forsaken coming out? And they showcased all the Better Devil stuff. Like they're like, all these Better Devils or whatever. Is there a different kind of gun that you're like, oh, if I had this archetype with these kind of rolls, the best? Yeah. What's the best?
Yeah, and I mean, there's nothing specific because like we don't know what all the new perks are going to be, and then which slots are going to go in, all this stuff. So I know there's going to be some great combinations out there. One thing I'm looking forward to is using that new Warlock chest piece that gives you basically Firefly on any kinetic. So you run that with the Midnight Coup, and you have like you have a just on steroids, you have the Fate Bringer, right? And it's doing bonus damage, and it's Firefly. So that's gonna be cool. You can also run Sweet Business, I suppose.
Oh, with Firefly. Wow.
Could be some spiciness there too.
There you go.
I'm going to be that guy, Crucible.
You're always that guy.
It's gonna be like a first like 2 or 3 weeks of Forsaken, and it's gonna be just constant discovery of like, oh, I got this, weapon no one's heard of, and I got, this roll on it, and it's this good, and it's like it kind of got annoying in D1, but I think I'm gonna miss and enjoy seeing like people ask about what roll do you have in your gun, or like what's the best roll to have on this gun, and you'll actually be able to hopefully get some advice, and
that's cool,
well, just that whole aspect is gonna be fun.
It's funny, didn't they come out with that Twitch extension like after the whole random roll thing? Like now you can have that D2 thing. People just look at exactly what you're using.
It shows you your loadout.
Except I think I don't think that got big till was it around in D1?
It felt like year 3 D1, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think they added it year 3 at some point.
I would say because now it doesn't matter because it's like, oh, that's a Better Devils, I know what's on it, so that could be useful again.
It's like, your gear has been so mundane, and like every engram that drops, you're just like, well, there's no hope in this engram. It's just I know it's going to be something I already have, and it's just going to be dismantled, and maybe I'll get some masterwork cores or something.
I was going to say maybe it'll be a masterwork
or an NTP because I still don't fucking have one.
That too.
And you may never have
some
one.
people are missing that.
Can't
not
get
gonna
it.
get that to drop in God of War, dude.
I haven't been playing God of War. I finished it. I did start a second playthrough though, but I haven't touched it.
Speaking of loot dropping, this is kind of random, but I had it. I wasn't sure. I needed to look it up, and I kept forgetting. But do y'all know if the Nokris strike has a strike-specific sparrow that drops? Is that a thing? Because I was randomly doing the heroic strike playlist just for the stuff we have to do for Solstice of Heroes, and at the end of the Nokris one, which was the Nightfall last week, it dropped like an in-game, not an engram, but like it looked like an engram on the ground, an exotic, and I picked it up, and it was this like sparrow with a skull on it.
Yeah, no. So that can drop from any strike.
Yeah, that is a strike exclusive.
Okay, cool. I was just making sure. I was like, is strike specific loot dropping in all the strikes? I was like, what is happening right now? This is crazy. Okay, cool. So it's a strike thing. Awesome.
Yeah.
You can get it from any strike.
That's sweet. So also something else that I'm like super stoked about with the new Crucible stuff is not just variety in gunplay, but variety in the way that you play the Crucible, which is huge. And I know we've kind of dived into a little bit, but just like the variety of like having lanes again because of sniper rifles, and like being able to choose not just a play style with your exotic, but a play style with your loadout as well as your exotic, to kind of like, there's going to be like close quarter loadouts or long range or stealthy, like we saw Kevin, showing the bow off that could see through walls a little bit. And in what ways are you going to use that to have more knowledge on a map? I don't know. It's just like really exciting to think about all the possibilities of like, what are these corners that we're going to have to watch now that right now we're literally just watching being laned, and that's kind of it, and getting team shot. And so now we'll actually see some more plays, I feel like, is what it feels like.
That was probably my favorite thing.
It just comes down to depth, right? In terms of gameplay, where right now the game is completely one-dimensional, and there's very little like effective flanking. It's mostly just you death ball, and then you collapse because you get a pick. So it'll be great to see the individual play return, where you'll have 1v2s and 1v3s be more possible, and people won't be clumping up as much because they could get sniped or shotgunned, or grenades will be on lower cooldowns. There's going to be a lot more player lethality for them to draw upon, and as we saw in D1, it could be fast, it could be chaotic, and I'm sure there'll be things that are a little bit too strong that the community will be frustrated with. But like overall, I think the game needs to be faster in order for it to be the Destiny that people fell in love with. Mm-hmm. And it's taken a long time, but I'm glad to see the Bungies recognize that, and the stuff that they were talking about at the beginning of their stream about the importance of a skill gap, the importance of their player philosophy changing. Especially from some of the comments that they had given previously about where they wanted to take the game, that instills a lot of confidence in me. If they stick with that, then that's going to end up being a much better game to play, to watch, and for everyone. So yeah,
that was huge.
My favorite part of that whole discussion was that they talked about the skill ceiling being raised. I was like, oh my god, thank goodness. That's probably the best news in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with all of you guys that like having that direction set forth is so opposite. I feel like last time Triple you were on, we were talking specifically about the skill ceiling and how it was so low and stuff, and having it be like for their direction was aimed at that too, and now that it's not, was
that around the time when they said on Twitter specifically that they took out in-air accuracy to close the skill gap? I think that was like right around that time.
There were some other comments I think about a slower time to kill is going to put less pressure on players to land their shots and all these things, which I can't say their intentions are bad. Of course they're trying to make a game that is more fun to players and that's not going to alienate everyone who picks it up for the first time. But the problem is, like, if you compress that skill gap and you cater to the lowest common denominator, it's just gonna be a shallow experience. And then, okay, people will play it for a little bit, and then they're gonna go find something that's more meaningful and that they can really measure themselves getting better at. And that's why you need to have that high or unobtainable skill ceiling, where you're always striving to improve, and you can see that, and it's okay to go in and get your ass kicked, because that just gives you something to compare yourself to and say, okay, I want to be there, and so I'm going to work toward that.
Do you think that in approaching the mindset that way of like having the skill ceiling that way, we haven't really talked about it yet, but matchmaking has been like a huge subject lately in the community, especially with Iron Banner coming back, and everyone's all like, oh wait, like this is way sweatier than Quick Play was just a little bit ago, because Quick Play kind of opened up the doors to everyone being in the same lobby, some people getting stomped, some people just having it be more chill than they were used to. What are your thoughts on all of that going on, Triple, with moving to 6v6 and also having the matchmaking be like more lenient, I guess? It seemed to be random right now, but do you think that maybe this approach of like, hey, it's okay to have a higher skill ceiling, that maybe they'll be okay with having matchmaking be a little wider as well in their skill searching?
Right. I think that it is very important to have a playlist which is like strictly a casual or social experience, right? And people should have that option. Likewise, they should also have an option where they can go in and play people of similar skill.
Yeah.
So I think Quick Play by nature, it suits that well, and I think it should be focused primarily on good quality connections and being able to balance the lobby itself, right? So team balancing for the particular game that you're in, if possible, right? So if there's 12 randoms in there, it tries to balance those teams accordingly, so it's not going to be a hugely lopsided game. So that can help. Outside of that, Iron Banner having skill-based matchmaking, I don't really have a problem with that, as long as like it's not going to make connections terrible, right? You need good connection quality. So like if they're putting a greater emphasis on skill, that's fine. It's supposed to be like a kind of a competitive light experience. It's a mode where winning does matter, and like I'm okay with that, again, because it's optional. It's a choice. You're not forced to do it. And people can play Quick Play if they want, all that. Like Rumble, I think Rumble should have skill-based matchmaking, because the nature of Rumble means that when there are highly variable skill levels, it ends up just being kind of boring, where a lot of times it'll be either one really good player and then everyone else is bad and he just farms them all and wins, or it'll be like two good players and they just like are just racing to kill all the bad players and avoid each other, which is also really stupid. It's better when everyone is kind of a similar skill, because Rumble's kind of like the go in and just play and try to work on your own game, right?
Yes.
That's how people played it in D1, and the Rumble playlists in D1, especially when there was still the classic playlists that were available, it kind of became like the unofficial like just place where good players went to like play each other, and a lot of people got noticed by teams in there by just playing random people and then being really good and saying, all right, invite them to some competitive matches and stuff.
That's cool.
So I think Rumble should be that. And then competitive, which has had its own problems, but I think that they're moving that in the right direction, where that can be a really fulfilling experience for people that are trying to have that ranked experience that they like in other games.
Yeah, for sure. I'm all about all that. I want to talk more about ranked in particular and competitive, because we have a lot of those changes coming in the TWAB, and some really big news too. But right before we get to that, I wanted to check to see if anybody had anything to add on to about Solstice of Heroes real quick, just since this TWAB has really nothing to do with that. Wilson, Mana, if you guys had anything to throw in there. The only thing I was going to say about
what if I have something to say about
Well, you haven't been playing Hope, so I figured you didn't have anything to input there.
I don't.
You don't have anything to insert there. So I think that for me, I heard a lot of complaints about how many times you have to do those missions because you have to do them a lot, which I get is a grind, but it's a grind that people are doing, which is like there hasn't been people doing stuff in Destiny, so it's impressive to see people doing stuff that alone. And if they don't want the stuff like Hove, then they just don't do it. But for me, I kind of liked it because I have friends that are getting back into D2. I have one person who has never played D2 and just got into it just now, and so it's cool to, with all like the orb generation and the weapon kills, those kind of stuff, I can just play through the normal story mission with him, and I'm still getting stuff done, which feels awesome. And then on top of that, I have people that are coming in and they completed, enough of like Warmind or one of those expansions to be doing this Solstice armor. And so even if I completed my first set or second set, I'm going back in and helping them with their one set because they don't play as often. And I can still do those missions with them again, and I'm still making progress. So I just wanted to add real quick, I'd seen a lot of negative stuff towards it. And while I do agree, like, yeah, it's a grind, it's a lot, like that seemed cool to me to be like continually doing stuff that's progressing myself, but also still being able to help my friends who are kind of like just jumping back into the game. And that's kind of what Destiny has always, like a constant theme on this podcast, especially people that we have on an interview, is like, it's all about like the community and playing together. And it's been cool to see these missions kind of making that happen. Did you guys have any other thoughts about Solstice?
To be honest, like, it's been a lot of fun going back, doing the reimagined story missions, seeing all the people that are back on playing. But for me personally, like, all the stuff that you can get, like, I know that once Forsaken comes around, that I'm gonna be all over like the new new, you know what I mean? So all the new armor, all the new weapons, all that good stuff. Like, so I mean, like, to be honest, like, I'll get it all done on like probably my hunter, and that'll be it. Like, I probably won't grind it out on my other characters just so that I can say that I did it. But like I said, once Forsaken drops, there's going to be all kinds of new things that I'm going to be equipping that, and that stuff will just go in the vault with a bunch of other stuff that I just need to get rid of, to be honest. Like, my vault, it looks like a teenager's bedroom at this point. Like, there's just so much crap in there.
Is there like pink pictures of the pink Power Ranger around?
Yeah, absolutely. For sure, man. Absolutely. you had Power Ranger posters too growing up? Or?
No.
That was just Triton did, for sure. He's not here, but I can vouch for him.
Power Rangers back in the day was awesome. Don't brag on it.
Okay, well, we can get to this week at Bungie. There was, at the beginning here, they talked about Gambit a lot, talked about the bounty system for it and the ranking system for it, how it's going to have a rank pretty similar to Valor, it sounded like. The only difference was, or at least the main difference, was 3 tiers in each of the ranks up until Legend, which was really interesting. Like, within each rank, there's 3 different like sections of that rank. They didn't completely show us any of that. They just said it was going to be like multi-tiered, multi-leveled kind of rankings, more extensive basically than what we're used to, is what it sounds like. And they showed off a little bit of the gear in that main picture up there. And it looks very Prison of Elderies to me. Like,
Elderies.
Elderlies, yes. I don't know if I'm a super huge fan of that kind of stuff, but maybe the weapons will be awesome. We have no idea. You guys have anything you're thinking about Gambit? At first I was like, I don't know, is that something, because I'm more of just a strictly like comp style Crucible guy. Is Gambit going to be something that I'm going to grind out the way that I would like Valor or Glory? And I don't know, how about you guys?
I'm pumped. Like, whatever they do with the rankings, like, I'm just excited for Gambit in general. So the more reasons to do it, whether it be ranking or rewards or whatever, I'm all for it.
If they put a fusion rifle in there, Lego, that's the only carrot that you need dangled in front of your face
sold.
To go in. Like, day one, Lego's gonna be like, I want to get that fusion, and then like, you start getting sidetracked by all this other stuff during a new content release. So then like the next week, he'll rally up and get it done.
Right.
So
see, that's the thing for me, is like, over the past like D2, all these things like Trials of the Nine and all that, the loot has been pretty mediocre, so it kind of killed the grind for me. If the game mode's fun, then I'll just play it for the craps and giggles, right? I'll just grab people and just play it. But like, if I want to grind it, the loot has to be decent now, you know? If the loot's decent, I will play it. But as of right now, like as of the past, like all throughout Destiny 2, a lot of the loot just in everything has been pretty mediocre for me.
Yeah.
So it's just like kind of like with the Solstice and all that, like getting shiny armor with like decent looking armor. I'm just like, I got to the blue and I'm just got like, I don't know. I kind of want to just play Crucible now. So I kind of just stopped it. And also like kind of like what Hove was talking about, how it's like
not my thing.
We're getting new stuff right around the corner anyways. But like, if it's good, if it's, I don't know, if it's fun, you know, it's just, I'll jump into it. So I guess we'll just have to see.
Carry me in Gambit mana.
If they put same thing with mana,
All over
if they put a really good sniper in there, it'll be all about that Gambit.
Yo, I'm really bad at sniping, except for just like one game today, which I posted on Twitter, by the way. So one game out of the whole day, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I got headshots.
You know what? I finally got.
Oh,
go ahead. I was going totally off topic. Trust me. It's better that you stop me now.
I'm keeping you in line, Hope, here, because I saw Triple about to say something about, so I'm curious what you think about Gambit.
I was just gonna say that I think Gambit is really fun, and I think that especially with Trials taking a hiatus and Faction Rally also being gone for Season 4, that the focus will be strictly on Gambit and competitive. So, you know, driving players to those two experiences, and I think that it's great. It's great that they're putting a good investment and progression system into Gambit. That's certainly going to help. I think it's just fun, and I'm going to want to play it because it's fun. And then, you know, even if I'm just getting, you know, regular drops, blues, and, you know, purple engrams, and then maybe an exotic every once in a while, that would be enough. But it seems like they're really putting some more thought behind it. So that's great. And, you know, like some of you said, if they have some exclusive weapons, which I've heard rumors of, then that's going to only incentivize people more to play it for that. I like the idea of, you know, there being certain things from different activities, be it Crucible or PvE, you know, like, you know, Escalation Protocol has 3 excellent weapons, and some of them are good for PvP, some are good for PvE, and some are good for both. So, you know, just driving players, giving them a reason to, you know, play the entire game, I think is good. And then, you know, if we have random rolls affecting all these weapons too, it's not just trying to get that drop, it's trying to get the drop that you want. So there's reasons to continue to grind it and get that, and even the masterwork. So the masterwork, from what I understand, is random. So you can get the god roll, you know, you can get the best devils, but it's not going to have the ranged masterwork that you want. So you can still chase that same roll, but having the masterwork that you are pursuing, and then the mods are on top of that. So yeah, I think there's going to be more depth in the loot system than we've actually seen in the series thus far. That excites me a lot. And Gambit, it seems like a mode that I could just play for hours and hours with, you know, any of my friends and have a good time.
That's cool.
Even though I think just from the type of player I am, I usually gravitate toward quick play, but I think Gambit will be something really great to cleanse the palate. And I really want to see, you know, like we got a little taste of it at Guardian Con, you know, seeing like 2 good teams go up against each other.
Yeah.
There's a decent amount of strategy involved. It could be I don't know, dare I say a tournament mode that people would enjoy watching for sure.
Yeah, the way that the other team melted the boss of Ian Watts' team of that one playoff game was insane. Like, that was crazy to watch, especially because we don't really have a full grasp on the new supers. And so, like, watching them just melt that boss, I think the Warlock's new Solar Super was involved in there. And, yeah, it's crazy. I can't wait to see the plays. But I also do agree with you that it seems like it could be a palate cleanser kind of playlist. Especially the way that you can invite your PvE friends into it and they don't feel as intimidated. I feel like it will be that way anyway.
Right. In some ways, it could be like a stepping stone toward Crucible for people that, you know, just want to get their feet wet, and maybe that's something they want to do, or maybe they just, you know, enjoy it for what it is. That's fine.
Yeah.
I think the timing of Gambit coming too is, I mean, it's perfect because they needed something. Obviously, everything else we've talked about with Forsaken, we're excited about. There are steps in the right direction, but like they needed another shot in the arm, kind of like when Trials first came out, right? Like something for everyone to kind of get behind. And speaking of Trials, it also gave them, like, I think it's a really good time to pull Trials and work on it because you're trying to redo comp and get people into there. You're gonna have people in the Gambit. Trials would just be like, I feel like that'd be a little much for kind of end gamey new type of stuff
right now.
Yeah, so I think it's a really good time to pull Trials while everyone's flocking to Gambit, going for the new weapon and comp and presumably better reworked competitive playlists. So I think it's great timing, and I'm hoping Gambit can be for Destiny 2 what Trials was for Destiny 1, right? Like they kind of kept it going even during rough times when content droughts were there and people didn't care for anything else going on because there was nothing. I think that was one of the biggest issues now. Like D2 obviously had a lot of glaring issues, but there was no one thing that kept people coming back like there was Trials in Destiny 1. Like there were definitely points where there was nothing in Destiny 1 but Trials. That was the only reason people were playing.
Yeah,
So,
and they can definitely use this time to make Trials a big deal when it comes back too, and just like bring the hype train the way they are with Gambit, and the way that they did Trials in the beginning. Everyone was super hyped, and I just like, for one, hope that they bring Triple back to do a Trials stream. That's my dream right there, because I know he would get people hyped.
I'm saying.
Yeah, I think that it was kind of surprising that they were willing to take down their flagship PvP mode, right, and put it on the back burner. Even though a lot of us actually have said that, like we, earlier this year, we were like, yeah, you should take Trials out and make it better, right? But we just didn't think they would actually do it. But kudos to them. I feel like the simple solution really is just go back to 3v3 elimination. That's what worked. That's what people like. It's different from comp, where right now Trials and comp blend together too much.
For real.
But we'll have to see what they do. Maybe they're just gonna go in a crazy different direction. I hope they don't try to change it just for the sake of change. And that's kind of the frustrating thing is Bungie often, instead of giving them the players what they actually want, they try to like reinvent the wheel, and that's a noble thing to do, but if it doesn't work out, then you've gone backwards basically. So I really hope that they do a good job. We all want Trials to be good. A lot of us really miss it being at the top. So we'll have to see what happens with that, see what happens with Faction Rally 3.0 it'll be. And like theoretically, 2019 is going to have just like we shall not want for content, right? It'll be we'll finally in this long journey reach the point where content itself is not an issue. Whereas it's funny, like we talk, Destiny 2 has all these problems, and then we'll think back to what were the problems with D1 in the first year? It was mostly like there's not enough stuff to do. There's not enough content. Those were the biggest complaints. And I think Bungie's now finally starting to catch up with the different studios that are helping out, and just the way they planned it to actually give players a lot. And I think Solstice ended up being it's good that they really explained it well, so they didn't set unrealistic expectations. And they told players exactly what it is, and it's brilliant because it's a great way for people to return to the game, like you were talking about, and get them up to light level quickly, or brand new players hop in and be like, wow, okay, I don't have to worry about grinding for weeks and weeks. I can just do this quest and I'm going to be, around 400 light or so. And I think that's great. And then there's stuff, if players wanted to grind a little bit more, like I did all 3 characters, so I got the ship, which I think is really cool. But at the same time, you don't need to feel like you're obligated to do that, because even without that, you're going to be just fine in Forsaken. Like people always are asking, is it too late to get Destiny? Is it too late to start playing? It's like, no, like Destiny's always been very easy to catch up to wherever the game is at, and I think that's a good thing. And then I think they announced that they're they're doing that basically the spark of light thing where you can play Forsaken at the start and then I think begin at level 30 or whatever we're at now, and you won't have to like grind a ton of vanilla and the other expansions, which is great. I mean, you can still go back and play it if you want, but it's not going to be mandatory.
Yeah, it's great. One last thing with Gambit, I just wanted to say I thought that the bounty system was pretty cool, as far as it looked like when you turned it in, you got like plus 15 for the bounty. They showed an example of in the TWAB or whatever. It was plus 15 like points towards your rank, which is great, because if I had that in comp right now, if I had like bounties or something, or even Valor, if I was really pushing for something, that would incentivize me. And the way that they have weapons tied to your rank, they were saying, or quests that tie to your rank to get weapons or armor, that is going to incentivize people to do those things. And even if they lose several games in a row, if they're getting those bounties done, they still feel like a sense of progression, which is pretty cool. I like that. It's like, people are going to be hungry hippos after those rank points. So it's gonna be great.
Are they doing I don't even know where I was going with that. You said hungry hippos and I got lost.
Yeah, I know.
I got hungry.
No, but yeah, I think the one they showed where it's 15, that would be the weekly one, right? They said that gives you like a chunk of points. Is that correct?
That one looked like one of the daily ones to me, and it looked like they had weekly ones beneath it that looked different, but we didn't get an example of those, is what it looked like to me. I could be totally wrong because I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know. I was just guessing.
Yeah. Next up is, we were talking about, trials being gone, and are people going to be going to the comp playlist? We got that hand cannon to go for, and they announced a lot of changes with Glory Rank. There's going to be no loss streak. You're going to get weekly bonuses for playing now. That's going to be working. That was supposed to be here this time, but we didn't have it. And they actually said if you were playing comp in Season 3, you're going to get all those points, or a set of points that is accumulated for you in Season 4. They didn't say if it was based off of how much you played or anything like that. Just if you played in Season 3, you're going to get extra points in Season 4 for that. Radar is back, and Control and Clash have been added in. They set some huge goals that talked about making it more accessible for people. And we lost Mana for a second.
Hi, Mana.
He's back. And but yeah, it sounds like, a lot of people wanted Radar back. A lot of people, because Destiny didn't feel built for relying on your sound and stuff like that. So yeah, a lot of changes. Do these changes pull you guys in? Wilson, Hove, I know y'all haven't played comp as much as me, and not near as much as Triple going for that ornament.
You made a good decision by staying out of the comp playlist lately.
Yeah, I feel like I just started to adjust to no radar, and now they're bringing it back, and like I'm totally okay with that, because I'm not gonna lie. I mean, what player wouldn't play better if they know how to read a radar? You know what I mean? If you know how to read it correctly, respond to it. I always say, act, don't react. You know what I mean? Like that's just kind of my play style, and but I'm excited for it. What was it? Clash and Control are being added to it.
Yeah,
that'll be interesting. Yeah, that'll be interesting. What do you think about it, Hove?
Well, my biggest issue right now, and I mean, well, maybe not my biggest, but the one thing that had been driving me nuts, I kept trying to get into it because I did want to go for the Claymore, but like every time we jump in, we'd get a couple games of survival, which this is completely backwards of what I thought it was going to be. And like I had a lot of fun with the survival games, and then all of a sudden we'd go into Countdown, and I just fucking hated it. Like I don't know that I've ever had as big of a difference in like enjoying and not enjoying something like back to back in Destiny. Like we had 2 or 3 survivals in comp, man. Like when we went in, we did like a couple survival games. We played great. It was fun. And then Countdown came, and I was just absolutely tilted and miserable, and I was like, fuck,
I came in here with you raging. I was just like, what did I just miss?
I
was like, oh my god.
You left and I flipped. You left and I flipped the fuck out. That's what happened.
Yeah, exactly. Like Hope, like part of our big thing is, and like Mana Lego, we've played enough that like you can probably back this up. Yeah. When we first go into a game, we're chatting about something we did earlier in the day. It never fails. In between, as soon as the game's over, we get out of sweat mode and into cracking jokes and stuff like that, and it carries over into the next round. And
then we're down 3-0 before we go, oh, we should probably pay attention.
Wait a second. We're playing a game. Oops.
Mana and Lego are usually the first ones to say, all right, guys, we should probably start working as a team now. And then we do have to sweat our ass off to get the W. But
Mana's usually eating, too, though.
It's very true.
I'm actually starving right now.
I know. You got some pizza? You have some pizza?
No, my roommate was actually making dinner like as we started. He's like, oh, you're gonna have time to eat? I'm like, I'm gonna be on a podcast, and now I'm done. So,
are you like trying to show off because Triple's here? Because you normally eat on the podcast every week.
No, I mean like he's making like a big deal.
Extra good
Normally
behavior.
I'm just here, just like a little bit.
One thing, Wilson, about that quick play, especially for Hove, that not quick play, that comp between the two game types. It was flopped whenever we did have radar. You loved Countdown when we had radar, and then you hated survival, and now that is gone, you hate Countdown,
which I didn't see coming.
Yeah, and now that it's coming back, I wonder how all of these modes will feel different. And it's interesting because this is the only mode that's keeping the 4v4 format, because quick play is now 6v6, Iron Banner 6v, everything else is 6v6, and so it'll feel like quick play did feel, basically, because we've got clash and control in there. It's just you're fighting for something, and we won't have the loss streak. And so I feel like you'll still lose points, I think, for losing. It just won't be as much, and you can't go on a streak. But yeah, it just sounds more like quick play used to be, maybe. I don't know.
I just want to point out that when they introduced Tocom here for this part of the TWAB, they really kind of threw him under the bus. They normally say like, oh, so-and-so's here to tell you about whatever. In this one, they put Senior Crucible Designer Kevin Yanis is here to be accountable for how you'll distinguish yourselves. Like, they're like, well, here he is. If it's not right, blame him. That was pretty. Yeah, that was pretty savage.
It's awesome. He's been pretty great on Twitter with like acknowledging people's Redrick's accomplishments and stuff like that. It's been cool to see him be really involved in it. Sorry, Triple. What were you gonna say?
No. I mean, I was saying like, yeah, it's his baby, and he's been reticent to acknowledge some of the problems that have been with the mode, and he's talked about his design goals, and I totally respect that, but clearly the first iteration of competitive has not resonated with players, and some of that isn't necessarily the problem with competitive so much as just like Crucible itself, with the speed of the game and the slowness is really made it just not conducive to a competitive environment. But I do think that it's really great that A, they're adding more game modes, and B, that they're adding the radar back, because those two things are going to have such a positive effect on making it a more accessible and appealing mode for people to try and succeed at. The problem with no radar, and I could talk about that for how much time we got, it all boils down to the fact that the game just simply wasn't designed for it. You have abilities like the Night Stalker smoke grenade, which is specifically meant to try to bait and trick players. You have exotics like ones that will allow you to see on radar, abilities, and all these things. I respect that they tried something, and it was probably because it was the only thing they could do to try to spice things up at the time. And it makes the game better in some ways, I will acknowledge that, but in other ways it makes it worse, and you've kind of alluded to that with how like your opinions on certain modes changed with the absence of radar and the presence of radar. But what I think was like the most harmful was that it fractures the experience, where you have every other game mode aside from Trials and competitive has radar and has a certain feel, and you learn to play it like that. Most people are playing those modes the most, and then you go to these other things, it's like, wow, this is a completely different game.
Shocking.
And I just forgot how to play, right? And that happened to me because I played a ton of quick play, and I hadn't played competitive since I had gotten the Redrix initially when competitive had first come out. And I went back into competitive. I was like, wow, this is like a different game. I have to completely relearn how I play, and it was not fun. And even when I win, I'm not having fun. So I really look forward to competitive in season 4. I think that they may have a few too many modes. I feel like survival and clash blend together. I'd rather just have one. I think countdown just plays terribly whether you have radar or you don't have radar. I think that they need to allow you to plant and defuse without making so much noise, because then that gives more power to the objective. When everyone knows on the map that you're planting it or you're defusing it, it makes it ultimately kind of a secondary objective when it should be like the primary focus. And a lot of teams will kind of ignore the bomb whenever possible and just play it like elimination. So it's like it's not really functioning the way I think the designers wanted it to. So maybe they could take that and give it the trials treatment and put it on the back burner and try to rework it. But all things considered, I think competitive is going to be significantly better, and especially with I think the game is going to have a lot more people playing it. The population is going to be more healthy, and that'll certainly help the queue times and all that, which can be rough, especially on PC. So a lot of good stuff to look forward to.
I have to take back what I said earlier, because I was saying that it'll feel like normal quick play used to feel, but it won't, because we're getting all of these weapon slot changes, and there's no telling how it's going to feel. 6v6 and 4v4 are just going to be completely different now. Maybe they'll feel like D1 a little bit, but they could just feel entirely different with bows thrown in the mix and double primary or special primary, whatever. And it just dawned on me too, as we were talking about Triple was talking about the radar and how exotics were built for it and stuff like that. I was like, wait, snipers, a lot of them are moving to kinetic, and knucklehead radar gives you radar on your primary. So will you have radar using a sniper rifle if you're using knucklehead radar? I was like, wait, what?
Well,
that's a good question. Really cool. I have no idea.
I don't know, because you got to think, because it's confusing and it's throwing me off with everything. But
verbiage.
Just the slot it's in doesn't really make any difference to like ammo and weapon type, right? Like
it's
still
type. Yeah, you're right.
It's still a primary or special
kind of
weapon
determined by the weapon, the ammo type, right? Yeah,
you're right.
That's true. That is a good point.
And that's why it's funny. Like I hear people whenever they announced that like Silicon Neuroma and some of those are moving to kinetic. Like, even though that's the slot you're going to put it in, it doesn't mean, like, you're still going to use it the same.
It's hard to retrain us after
exactly.
D1.
Very much.
Like we have primary, special, and then we have heavy.
So it may be a kinetic weapon, but if it's still a special, you still need green ammo, yada, yada, yada. So, no, that throws me off a lot, too. But, yeah, so I still would think it wouldn't work with snipers, because they're still going to be special weapons. They'll just be in the kinetic slot. Yeah, I'm going to be fucked up with that till at least, like, year 3.
I mean, people are already messed up with D2 with it. They're, like, talking about their heavy ammo, and now we're going back to heavy, and so we're just screwed.
Yep.
They're purposely messing with us at this point.
Yeah.
It's gotta be.
So,
that's for fun.
The next thing is the thing that I'm really amped to talk about, and I'm going to cry about it just a little bit, because I got the feels for it, and that is a Redrix clone coming with Redrix Broadsword. And this is something we talk about on the podcast over and over again. It is about how we love that they were going in the direction of something that was exclusive for people who do this certain thing, and if only those people do it and get it, that's fine. Leave it for them. Let them have that thing, whether it's PvE, PvP. And we were like, oh, look, Crucible finally got the thing that is like just the people who do this thing are going to have it. And then they're like, actually, there's going to be this clone version of it that could be the same depending on the random rolls that it gets. But basically, everybody has a chance to get it in Season 4. It's going to be a quest that you do to get it. And after just like sacrificing so much time where I could have been getting Whisper of the Worm Catalyst or like all this other stuff, PvE content I could have been doing, I spent that time doing comp and sweating it out with other guys who were doing the same thing, and it felt like such an accomplishment to finally get it. And then they're like, oh yeah, everybody's gonna have a chance to get it, and you're like, oh man, that one thing that was like exclusive taken away. So I'm pretty bitter about it, which I don't get bitter about much, but I'm pretty like, I'm like, why does everyone have to have everything? Like, it doesn't have to be like, it would be fine.
I feel you, man. Like, I didn't invest the amount of time that you put into it to get it. And I remember every week that I would talk to you, or you know, however many times throughout the week, each time you'd tell me what your rank was, how close you were getting to it,
I was
how excited you were
it.
to get to it. And I kept saying, oh, I'll get there, man, I'll get there, and I'll get around to doing it. And as a person who didn't invest the time and gets a chance to get it, I'm honestly not really too happy about it. Like, I'm gonna have this like knockoff version that everyone's gonna be like, oh, okay, you got the poor boy version, the lazy boy version, you know.
You zerd it.
I got the Big Lots knockoff cheap version, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But I feel like you have every right to feel that your time put in was kind of sort of diminished by this, I guess you could say. Like,
I feel like I'm in a counseling session right now. Like,
really
Wilson's looking at me and his eyes piercing me, and I'm like,
you have every right to be upset, Lego.
It is almost insulting though for the people that, like you guys have been saying, like you worked so hard, especially maybe those players that didn't have a lot of time to even commit, and then they only spend those few hours every weekend. They're like, we got it, we're those few that have it, and now everyone get this. Almost makes me want to grind for the Claymore right now, honestly, just to say is like what Wilson was saying, I don't have the poor boys, like it's not a gun.
Well,
yeah, it's like everyone's saying come raid, and they're like, nah, I gotta grind out the Claymore, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I agree with, like, I see your point, and you know, I'm one of the people who usually is very, you know, hey, there should be, yeah. I think I'm mostly okay with it, or at least okay with it enough to argue with you about it, so that I don't just agree. But here's the thing, like, it's a good weapon, right? But it's not like game changing. It's not like if you have this weapon, you're gonna be better. So it's not about the weapon, it's about the fact that you did what you needed to do to get it, right? So you're still gonna be that guy who has the Claymore. Where all these other people, they may be able to do the same thing as you or whatever, but they're gonna have the broadsword, like Wilson was saying. Like, they'll be like, you know, you got your Redrixes at Gabriel Brothers, you know, like I got mine at like wherever. So I think I wish they wouldn't have done it, but I'm not all that like upset about it, because you can still, you know, it's that thing you show off. It's like we've always talked about, even if it's a you know, the helmet for beating Crota, or you know, whatever it may be, you still are the one, you got the Claymore. People know, like, you got it from comp, you didn't get it when they handed it to everyone at the homeless shelter. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
no, and they're giving you an emblem. I forgot to mention too, they are giving an emblem, I think, to the people who got the Redrix, which is pretty cool, because that's something that you can show off to be like, yeah, I did that grind, that was me.
Would you have been would you have been as upset about it if you hadn't grinded for the Claymore?
I think I would have, just because we've talked about exclusive. I'm definitely more upset about it because I did just finish the grind, you know, and so I'm super, like, it's just an initial punch of disappointment is basically what I feel right now, because I'm like, oh, I did the thing, like, oh, everybody gets the thing.
Yeah, it's so, like they said, like someone said in chat, it's the Gucci Claymore, the Walmart one.
Yeah, I get that, and I am definitely like not that like. I think it's one of those things. It's just an initial day of disappointment kind of thing. We'll see.
I think if I had the Claymore, which I don't, because I'd much rather. I was thinking about grinding for it, but as soon as I saw that hand cannon for next season, I was like, yeah, fuck that. I'm gonna wait for the hand cannon.
Honestly, the same.
Yeah.
Same here.
But
like, who needs the Claymore now?
I think I'd rather it be this way if I had the Claymore, for sure. Because then when people are like, oh yeah, check out this gun I got the Redrix's broadsword, I'd be like, fuck you, bitch. Like, I got the Claymore, look at this one, yours sucks. That's what I would do. Because I'm a child.
Triple, what do you think about the whole situation? You have any thoughts?
Yeah, I think my thoughts basically come down to two things. First of all, I completely share your like initial like internal groan of just like, wow, okay, so we thought we were special, thought we had earned this thing, or we had worked toward it, and now they're just gonna give it to everyone. But there is an element of, I feel, balance in terms of Crucible, because Redrix right now is either an average gun or the best gun in the game, depending on if you have the perk proc or not. This archetype, the 340 low impact, or excuse me, low rate of fire, high impact, it should be doing a 2 burst after the time to kill adjustments. So I don't know if people remember back in the day when we had the messenger from Trials in year one, and that was a 2 burst as well. One of the few weapons that could withstand the hand cannon meta. You could actually hold your own with that thing. It was very strong. I think it might be on that level. I think it's going to be one of the best guns in the game. It will certainly be one of the best guns in Gambit because it slays in PvE.
Right.
You can chain that forever on mobs. So part of me, I'm torn, right? Because I want there to be difficult things to earn that people get to just show off and be like, yes, I earned this. Not everyone can have it. And at the same time, it's like you don't want to be in a situation where there's something that's like really, really, really good and no one else can get it, because then that creates like balance issues, right?
Yeah.
So I feel that we don't know like the details of how you're going to get the broadsword, and that may be very difficult on its own.
That is
in which case, like that's going to be okay. People are going to have to go out and earn that as well. And the other thing is like I still feel that like the competitive rewards should be largely geared toward cosmetics, right? Like special shaders, special ornaments, special gear that looks cool, and I think that's more than enough to really satisfy the majority of those players. And you can have like weapons and stuff, but make sure that they're attainable by a lot of people, because if we were to go back to year one or something, and then like, sorry, that's my phone. Like, let's say like Last Word was only obtainable for like a few months, and then after that, no one else could get it, and then it's just running around getting Last Worded, and you can't get the Last Word. That would be a miserable experience, right?
Yeah,
and to some extent, it was kind of like that. People were out there just like praying that Xur was going to bring the gun because they just had no luck getting it. So like, there's a lot of dynamics. I think that it's something like they probably pivoted on this, right? They tended to have Redrix be like very exclusive, and then they saw, well, okay, not many people got it, and we might run into problems down the line. Let's try to make it quest based, not tied to seasons, and so it'll still be very challenging, but it's not going to be like a shut off, like a hard cut off, which could hurt the game in the long run. So
absolutely. Yeah, that's a good point of view. And first of all, I would just want to agree with you that holy crap, Redrix slays in PvE. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to take that thing into Gambit, because once you get a low mob guy down, you can get yellow bars down so fast once you start chaining
just
it.
Go ham, and you could go stand next to the portal, shoot a red bar, and then hop in, and then shoot some PvP guys right there. Slay the other team.
I didn't even think of that.
I don't know. I think that it's going to be cool to see how that works, and I really hope that they continue to create these kind of like half legendary, half exotic type weapons that are very unique and have like cool gameplay associated with it. And I think it's great.
Yeah, that's really cool. Secondly,
I definitely.
No, go ahead.
I just want to say real quick. I definitely think you're right about the whole pivot thing. And for exactly the reasons you mentioned, because I think they looked, and what was it, 8,000 some people got it out of
on 3 platforms.
Yeah.
That's
so
crazy
not
low.
only does literally like nobody have it, but with the guesstimation that it's gonna if we're looking at the time to kills right, if it's gonna be a 2 burst, I think it's exactly what you said. Such a few amount of people having what could possibly be like one of the strongest guns would really throw things out of whack. So. I think I'm with you 100% on probably why they did that.
Yeah. Didn't they initially say that like 40% of the player base was gonna get it? Didn't they like throw out like a number?
Well, I think that was like how far up the rank.
Yeah, it was 40% up the rank chain. So if everyone was playing comp all the time, it would be like 40% of the people have it. But that wasn't the case, and it was so intimidating, nobody went in there. So
right.
The second thing that I wanted to ask you, which kind of goes along with the ideology that Bungie has with this whole thing, and that is they listed their reason for doing this. One of them was a goal that they had of removing the time pressures associated with glory ranks. And I thought that was really interesting wording, because that takes away from the exclusivity of a season of having something. And I kind of liked that there was, even for all things, that there's time pressure associated. Like that makes people want to go do it. I feel like Hove, it's like you were talking about shoulder charge last week and how when they took away one hit shoulder charge, they went double down on like, not only can you not one hit shoulder charge, but it has a cooldown, and like, you know, they do double of whatever they're trying to accomplish. And I feel like this is one of those things like, hey, we want to remove the time pressures associated. So not only are we giving this to everyone, but next time everything's going to be in quest. So in season 4, it sounds like, I'm just kind of with this goal, this is what it sounds like, is that the hand cannon is going to be like associated with a quest that you can get by achieving a rank, and you can do it in season 5 per se or something, like, because their goal is to remove time pressures associated with glory ranks. So that's what it sounds like, but I don't know, that's just a guess from their goal.
Right, and then the time pressure comes from your own desire to have the weapon quickly, so that you don't, you're maybe not at a disadvantage or things like that. But there's nothing that is going to be hard gated to keep you out. Yeah. Yeah.
Do y'all like that change, or do you kind of like things having a, like, within a season you can get these things?
It's rough. I don't actually know, because I like the feel of like achieving something that you can't get any other time, but at the same time, just for the sake of other people not having that time, I feel like it's unfair. So I really don't know.
Life isn't fair, Mana.
I feel like on the flip side, you've got, if you don't have the incentive to do it within some time, because that time frame is like, 3-4 months.
Yeah.
And if there's no time frame, will you ever go after it ever? You're like, oh, I'll do it later. And you just have no incentive to go in there.
Like how I don't have no time to explain still from D1.
Wait, are you serious?
I never got it. Well, is it? It sounds like the quest itself will only be available during that season, right? Like, you have to rank up to a point to get the quest, but then you have throughout as long as you want to complete the quest. Is that how?
I don't know. They didn't really explain. They just said, we just know from previous stream that the hand cannon is going to be like the new Redrix, basically. But this, like, Twab basically says that they're moving things to quests, and that one of their goals is to remove time pressures associated with glory ranks. They didn't say exactly how these things were going to be accomplished, so we're just not sure. We don't have an exact answer.
Okay. I was just thinking it's more, you still have to get to whatever rank to unlock this quest for this gun. And that would have to obviously be done during that season, but then the quest can sit there as long as you want. Right?
Yeah. I don't know. To me, the whole thing sounds like, even if you don't get the hand cannon this, like,
oh, I'm getting the hand cannon.
You'll be able to get a knockoff.
Oh, I'm getting it. Nope, I'm getting it. It's gonna be like the Luna's howl, and then like the Luna's like cry. Or, like, the Luna's like meow.
Whimper.
Yeah. Whimper. There we go. We'll call it Wilson's whimper.
Wilson's whimper.
That's perfect.
That was like me waking up Saturday morning at Guardian Con after. No, wait, that would have been Sunday morning.
That was like every morning for me.
I was hung over.
Sweet whimper Willie.
Oh my god.
Well, next up on this list of things, we've got a little bit of changes to some social aspects of the game. We got guided games, some changes, pretty small stuff here, it seemed like. Mainly if you get disconnected, they talked about like reconnecting you to a fire team. Was that the one? I think they said that like isn't in place yet, but they want it to be. Was this
no, that was for comp.
Oh, that was for comp. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. So for this thing, they do have this in place for Forsaken,
I believe.
Yeah. So yeah, you'll get put back in. I still feel like guided games needs more incentives than just that to get people to play it, and they don't really talk about any incentives in here. So I don't know how well this will go over still. Do y'all have any thoughts about guided games?
They just need to make it quicker so we can match people quicker. Just make it like matchmaking, and don't make it this like lengthy process where you have to draw a ticket number and go sit and wait for everybody else to go ahead of you. It's not the DMV. I'm just trying to do a fucking strike.
It's less hassle and quicker to just go on a third-party site and use these LFG sites. And I know that what they're trying to do, they're trying to do their own version of that, but it's just not as good. So you got to come up with a solution, or you just need to add some basic kind of LFG features to the UI itself. So if you're in a social space, you know, you throw up a little icon saying, you know, I'm looking to play Crucible, or I'm looking to play Gambit, or I'm looking to raid. And that way, you know, people can message you directly and be like, all right, hey, you know, we got a group, you know, hop in, or let's form a fire team. Now, maybe have it be more organic could be the solution. I have no idea, but it's certainly, it is frustrating that we are, you know, on the horizon of year 5, and there's still not this, you know, this really good system in place to help people play together, because it is a social game that is best played with friends and other people, and expecting every player to know to go to a third-party site, or that they should go out and look outside of the game, it's not entirely unreasonable, given that like our generation now is very socially inclined to use Discord and streams and all this stuff, but it's still not the best solution. You need to have something that's built into the game. So hopefully they are working on something, and then we'll see that before long.
Yeah, for sure. I'm with you. I really hope to see those changes too, particularly, I don't know, with like new friends jumping into the game and like having to explain to them how to actually get into certain activities and stuff. Which, you know, guess I could always be a good friend and just take them myself too.
But you're not a good friend.
But no, I'm a terrible friend, honestly. And so after all of the guiding game stuff, we have clan updates, and they talk a little bit about how they want to give you more reasons to play with your clanmates and make clan perks more interesting. So Hawthorne's going to have like her own bounties now, and they listed some of the incentives for once you rank up. Rank 3 will be increased resilience when you're in a fire team with your clanmates, so encouraging you to play with clanmates. Rank 5 grants a chance to receive additional etheric and baryon resources when collecting them in the Wreath, which I have no idea what any of that is. And rank 6 is the weekly clan milestone also grants a masterwork core. And we previously heard that masterworks are going to be like a little tougher to get. You have to like rank them up like 10 times. So that's pretty exciting.
It takes like 17 cores to fully get the 10 masterwork rank on your gun to get the full effect. And then I think it also took like some legendary shards. So yeah, it's going to be like an investment. Like, okay, this is the one, and I want to you know main this or something. So I respect that for sure. I also think that they had mentioned that there would be more ways to get masterwork cores, and I think this is evidence of that. But I mean, even right now, like if you were doing a good amount of raids and doing even trials or whatever, like you're getting a good amount of masterwork cores.
Agreed.
And like you're turning in tokens, all this stuff. So I'm not too worried about that. Like I have a good amount now, but even if I didn't, I don't think like new players or players who don't have many are just going to be out in the cold. There's going to be ways to get those fairly quickly.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you on like getting them pretty plentiful right now. That's like the only reason I open legendary engrams right now. It's just a chance to get some mag. Otherwise, I'm just like, I started just deleting them for a while, and I was like, I guess I should actually open them in case there's a masterwork something.
What do you think about increased resilience when you're in a fire team?
Yeah, that was interesting. I think it's good to have something to incentivize playing with your teammates. It's kind of a weird thing.
I'm sure it's not going to be like a game-changing amount. But, like, I'm already ready for the, oh, Bungie, you're matching me against stacks of clans, and they have more armor than me because they get extra resilience.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it going to just be like you play with the clans, so you get, like, 1 point of resilience? Or, like, I have no idea what that means.
Right.
I don't even like resilience being a thing in PvP at all. Like, I would much prefer everyone takes the same amount of damage. There's some baseline consistency there. So yeah, I'm eager to learn more about what that means, and hopefully it's not gonna cause any problems.
Yeah, I'm the same mindset for me.
It just seems like an odd thing. Yeah, like it seems great, like, oh, let's go into the raid as a clan and you get a little bit more armor, but then with the whole Destiny PvE, PvP, all one sandbox, all one thing. It just seems odd to me.
I feel like they could have given us like just a PvE exclusive perk for clans like that. Even as like a more of a PvP player, I would have appreciated that. Like whenever you go in with 3 or more players, your supercharges like 5 times faster or 10 times faster.
5 times faster?
5%. Sorry.
I'm down for that. Let's go. Mayhem PvE.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
We wrecked the daybreak.
Yeah. I would say, how about they just give us all Scorch Cannons in PvP? Oh, wait. They are.
Oh, wait. They did. Yeah. Last Crucible Labs coming up. They're giving us a Scorch Cannon mode. Man, this sounds like right up your alley for some reason.
Just something crazy. Just like nonsense.
I want to see
more
of that.
This is a very pleasant surprise because
I
have been saying for so long they need they need to be able to embrace some kind of unorthodox, fun, wacky modes.
100%.
That, like Fortnite is thriving because they put their limited time modes and they do all kinds of different stuff. Yeah. So hopefully we can see more of this, and maybe we'll get a permanent, dedicated, just like fun party mode playlist or something.
That would be amazing. I would live in that.
Right, because like even as we've seen with quick play, a more social and casual experience makes people want to play. Like so many more people want to play together by themselves. Doesn't matter. In this mode, I can't wait to try it. I hope that they can, like, I was saying this on stream earlier, they should also bring in the javelins from Warmind, and then bring the axes from Rise of Iron.
I love it.
And we can just have just the most crazy, or bringing the relic.
I was just say, then you have like a shield version.
You could then have swords from the Crota sword. Just make it.
Ridiculous,
I would love
right?
that mode. Yeah,
that would be amazing.
A bunch of flim flam going about. Like I've been saying, like have a mode to where you can put on as many exotics as possible to be how powerful as you want, and just have like just 6v6 duke them out. Like just stuff like that would be crazy fun. I feel.
I want more beer and pizza type game modes where you can.
I just want more beer and pizza mostly.
Way to make me hungry.
I want both. At the same time.
But yeah, I just want more of like sit back, like literally don't even care if you win, like at all, the slightest. Don't even care if you're just getting mopped up, because it's a fucking Scorch Cannon. Who cares, dude? It's supposed to mop people up. Like, so I don't know, more fun stuff like that. Like Mana said, a game mode where you can equip like all different kinds of armor, or just whatever, just absolute madness. Embrace the wackiness.
Even more kind of simple things like very low gravity.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know how that would work, and maybe they would have to make some like very simple maps to just mess around with that. Or like, I think there's a lot of possibilities that they could explore, and just turn the fun up, man. I'm down.
They have that modifier in Adventures where your jumps take you like way higher, like a lot higher. There's a random modifier, and
nice.
It's a lot of fun. Like,
that'd be cool. Yeah,
like Triple said, who'd have thought like less gravity equals more fun? Like we want to jump around,
mix it up, right?
Unless this is Overwatch.
Because I
fucking hate that moon map.
Jeez. Could you imagine a tractor cannon low grav game mode? To where you're just blasting people. If you survive, you just get sent back to the moon.
What if
to a jump?
What if there was like a no gun damage tractor cannon mode? So like hitting them didn't actually kill them, but you had to like blast them off the map.
Like there's like pillars, maybe just random pillars. So it's like
and low gravity.
But it could be just like a simple map that's like just in the sky with just platforms, and then maybe some man cannons that you could fly around and do some. Yeah, I would play the hell out of that.
We could probably go for hours thinking of nonsensical things.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Right?
What's the one from D1? The map that it was a big rift map, and it was kind of like it was very vexy and floated on an island, and it had a portal that went to like way separated from the rest of the map.
Yeah,
the one that was shut down for a while because you could get out of the map or whatever. Vertigo?
Yeah. Maybe that was it. I don't know. You just had ledges everywhere. That would be
wasn't it Vertigo?
amazing.
Yeah, that was on Mercury, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the one.
Okay,
was it Taken King map?
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Now Well, we got. I love the idea of a community playlist. Hope, did you have one last thing?
I was just say with Scorched specifically, I just can't wait to like, you know how you can put it on a wall or whatever, and then just hold it and charge it. I just can't wait to fuck with people like that.
Oh, could you imagine just if
it'd be like a Telesto that you can control.
Yeah, I was about to say, if they're going to allow you to still charge it, could you just condemn that one player, just peek, shoot it at him, just run away, and just like, he's dead, he's mine.
No,
like,
you know what I'm going to do?
Hold it as long as you can.
Yeah, that one guy's just like, no. And
Lego
runs back to his friends. Get it off me, man.
Lego,
you're charging on you, maybe getting glowing brighter and brighter. You're like, no.
Lego, you're going to be the guinea pig, but this is something we talked about with Telesto back in D1. I'm gonna shoot you with my Scorch Cannon. Hold it.
Do it. Skate in there.
Yes.
Everyone on a team shoots that one person to have him just be a glowy bomb. just run.
We need to play this game mode and figure out how many different ways that we could just troll the shit out of people, and do that.
I wonder, do you think that the Scorch Cannon will be a one-shot to a Guardian, or will you have to shoot it and charge it for like a second, or shoot it twice to kill someone?
I feel like it should be a charge for a couple moments and then a one bang, like maybe a two-shot.
Because otherwise it's just rockets, right? They're just giving you rockets.
Would it be
which would be awesome still.
Yeah.
Game mode then, that'd be a lot of explosives potentially flying down a hallway at you. So maybe a couple shots or a charge.
I don't know.
Either way, I'm okay.
Who cares? I'm gonna send Lego in.
Who cares?
With a flaming something on him.
Could you just see a team just main laning, just everyone hugging and just shooting cannons down the hall?
It's gonna be great. That's gonna be a lot of fun. That's what I'm saying. We need more. We need a game mode where you could just go blow off steam, where you can just get triggered and leave and go in there and start laughing and having fun again.
Well, I know we got a lot of community questions on Twitter, and I know we'll have some in the Twitch chat too. And I don't want to be Steve from Blue's Clues looking at all of them, so I'm going to pass it all on to Hove, because he knows where they're all at, and I don't want to go searching for them.
You don't know how to
Hove,
use Twitter?
You are our Twitter boss. Hashtag podcast Twitter boss.
We're going to start with the most important question from Twitter. This one's for Triple, and Sleep would like to know, does he like cheesesteaks?
I love cheesesteaks.
Yes.
I love me a cheesesteak.
That is actually...
I didn't eat dinner. Now all I'm going to think about is cheesesteak.
Now I'm going to get a cheesesteak.
There we go. That's my... Let's see, did that work? I don't know. I think
my
my bot's broken. No, it really wasn't me. But it was Sleep, so he knows my chat. There we go. Making it rain cheesesteaks in chat. Okay.
I'm so hungry now.
I just got 70 cheesesteaks. I'm set.
Yeah, I got you, fam. I threw them all in the air. Just got to catch them. So Matt Grundy, year one of Destiny 2 was filled with puzzling changes, unfulfilling loot, and a heart-wrenching string of horrible PR blunders that left both the game and the community in a dark place for months. Do you feel that Bungie has recovered, and has the community recovered? Anybody?
Yeah, I think that they, with a combination of the community summit and the Forsaken reveal, which was, I think, about as good as they could have done with that. That was like a 10-minute Vidoc, and then them communicating a lot via Twitter, via Reddit. I think they've been more open with the community than ever before, and I think because they realized they needed to be, and even if you can think of it as some kind of desperation, it's ended up to be a good response overall, and I feel like people are Destiny is a love-hate relationship for a lot of people, and no matter if they take time away or they feel like they got burned or whatever, I think a lot of them still genuinely like the game, and they like the communal sense of friendship that they've had with other people over the game as a social activity, not just as a game you play. It's just like, this is what we do together. We play Destiny. We hang out, we do Crucible, we do Strikes, whatever, and it being their one game experience that people have found in whatever, World of Warcraft, Overwatch, you name it. So Bungie has been saying a lot of the right things. They've been teasing a lot of the right things, and more importantly, they have been able to show us the changes that are coming. And so, like, I'm not excited for Forsaken because I just have some blind faith. It's like, I know that the weapon system is an improvement over what we have now. I know the loot system is going to be better than what we have now, and I know that's going to have a big impact on my enjoyment of the game. Yeah, there's a lot of things we don't know, and I'm sure that there will be surprises that delight and upset us, but I think, again, when we talk about big picture stuff, they're really addressing a lot of the main complaints, and they're also adding some new stuff too, which is great. Like, we don't want to just get back to D1. Like, we want the series to go forward and to grow and to be better. And so we have things like Gambit and the new social space, which is like an end game location. Like, that's something we haven't had before, and there's a lot of teases about all the things that are going to be there. So I think they've managed to do a really good job with kind of restoring some faith, and I hope it's really good, because there's nothing out there yet that has been able to rival the highs that Destiny has brought for me and my friends, and we all want to get back to that.
Nice. Yeah, I would echo everything that Triple just said. Like, that's all, like, exactly.
Well, it's a good thing the question wasn't for you then. I'm just kidding.
You just said it was for everyone. He was like, it's for
No, I think that's a pretty standard answer. Like, I don't think there's too many ways to look at that question.
It wasn't very controversial.
No, yeah, they're kind of on their way, but I still think we need to see Forsaken. I think they still need to prove it.
I kind of forgot about the summit for a second there. I just am so focused on Forsaken, and really a lot of those changes, came from that summit. So that's cool you brought that up. I think that was the start of a lot of good changes.
Yeah, for everything that's already happened and is now happening, I feel like they're in a recovering state for sure at the moment. So I'm really looking forward to everything that's coming up.
All right, It's DJ asks, this one's for you, Triple. Who's his favorite hug at GuardianCon, and why is it me?
Well, I mean, every year DJ has tracks me down. Great hugs. If I had to rate on a scale of 1 to 10, it's definitely 9.5. So he's doing very well.
Well, that's really good.
We do have Benny came in and said it was me was his answer, that he's your favorite hug. So we got some competition there. Is he above a 9.5?
You know what? We've only hugged a few times, and he's got to work on his technique. It's just there's not enough of a full embrace. It's just there's too much distance there.
Got like the bend at the waist hug.
Or the hover hug or something that he has going on.
No, it's just like the kind of like the one arm type of hug. Like, it's not it's not the full embrace. It's okay. We'll get there.
Working on it.
Mark Square asks, year 1 Thorn or current Graviton?
Oh, I would Thorn and Heartbeat. Like,
I agree.
I love the
I feel
Thorn.
that way too. Yeah,
I hate the Thorn, but I love the Thorn.
Yeah.
And it's just for the sole reason that I feel like hand cannons are just like pure distilled, unique Destiny awesome, right?
Yeah.
They are weapons that you don't find in many other games. It's really not in the way that Destiny really nailed them. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with a pulse rifle. I don't mind a pulse rifle. It's just like they're more kind of just static gameplay. You're just like, all right, I'm going to kind of be a turret in the back and pick people off from a distance or whatever. Hand cannons are designed to be aggressive. You get in there, you're using it, you're jumping, you're sliding, and it really takes advantage of all the, I think, the verticality and the speed of movement that makes Destiny kind of just have its own pace that you don't find in a lot of games. So hand cannons will always have a special place in my heart. And while Thorn is certainly one of the most notorious and strong weapons, it did have a very noticeable skill gap where you would have players that had significantly better Thorn shots than others. And that was because Thorn had a ton of recoil. Yeah, it could kill in 2 shots in half a second, but to be able to control that weapon to land the 2 accurate shots like that consistently took a lot of practice. And I did not have a great Thorn shot. but it was something that like I could always practice at and try to get better, because there were people that would just shred you, and I love that. I love having that type of weapon that you can go, oh my god, this guy is like, he's the best. And then you know that's where the skill gap is. That's where the skill ceiling comes into play. And I think that made it made like trials, it made the tournaments back in year one really really special for that reason. And last word for that kind of other play style where you could run it with a sniper and you could still compete with people playing really aggressive in your face with a shotgun. So I really hope that they can bring hand cannons back into that glory once again, because it's something that, you know, even now where hand cannons are still kind of like second tier weapons generally, I just love using them. They're just so fun, and they're very satisfying, and they just create that gameplay that I really enjoy.
Yeah, I definitely got to go Thorn all the way too. It was just more satisfying of a kill with Thorn, and it felt really good to just shoot someone in the head twice, and then just quit and like know they were gonna die. Do you know what I mean?
You got it.
Like move on to your next engagement.
I'll also say that I really like the Graviton.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think it's a really fun weapon. It's probably the most fun pulse rifle, I think, because in PvE it just is hilarious. You can just destroy mobs and they just keep blowing up. And then even in PvP, well, it's like it's an annoying weapon because I don't like using pulse rifles. I basically just only use them in competitive because you have to. But it does require you to land crits to have the optimal time to kill, whereas like Vigilance basically just a body shot weapon most of the time. So I do think, as far as things go, I like the Graviton. I just don't like the game being nothing but Graviton and Vigilance, because it's just kind of boring to me.
Yeah. Be cool to see its place once the new season rolls around, once the changes come.
Absolutely.
Like having someone who is deterrent in the back, and then someone who's like crazy, like in your face in the front.
Right, and I'm
like
not
right
saying
there,
pulse rifles should be trash because I don't like them. No, I want everything to be viable, but like it's rough when you have a weapon where like even in the best case scenario, it's just simply worse. So hopefully they do a good job with that.
Nice.
I like the play style of Thorn a lot more.
Same. Is like, instead of just laning in the back with your entire team, that is right now pretty much of what we have. Thorn, at least people were running out and about, you know?
It's
I mean,
true.
it annoyed the crap out of me, the Thorn with the damage over time and all that. I would loathe that. But at the same time, you would still find them in various places other than in the back laning. Is my biggest gripe about it.
You're dueling instead of team shotting. Like
Exactly.
It's the difference. Yeah.
Really interesting question that I liked. Danielson asks, do you think they should bring back Monte Carlo as an exotic primary SMG with drop mag, similar to how they brought back Red Death as a hand cannon? I thought that was interesting, kind of how they redid, because Monte Carlo's exotic perk being a melee reloads your magazine,
and you got melee energy from just body hits.
That would work really well with an SMG.
I could really use
really
that
aggressive style SMG. Finish it out with a melee, reload, move on type.
And also, if they designed it right, which they've done a pretty good job of with the way guns look, the Monte Carlo style as an SMG could look really sexy. That could be a really cool looking gun.
Monte Carlo is one of the most gorgeous weapons in D1 for sure. And even though it was never like really a meta weapon, you could have some real fun with it, especially like Gunslinger, just throwing knives for days, or what have you. So I think I would love to see guns from D1 reimagined, like made into a different archetype or made into a different weapon entirely, or a different class of weapon, that is. Sure. But I think it's also important to say is like, at the end of the day, we would rather have like brand new stuff, right? We want new cool stuff that's entirely fresh. But if we can also at the same time bring back some classics or redo them, I'm totally for that for sure.
Okay, is there some sort of last word. Is there some sort of weapon that is similar or has some sort of perk that gives you your melee back or something? Because the Solstice of Hero grind to get melee kills of a certain type, and that you used to be able to do it with a sword with no energy. You could like cheese it that way, but they took it out, I think, and getting the throwing knife kills now. I'm like trying to get a headshot every time just so I get my throwing knife back, but I miss half the time. I'm like, oh, now I have to sit here and wait.
That's because you're a bad hunter.
So it actually, you can use a sword hilt on a hunter and a titan, but it doesn't work on warlock for some reason.
Oh, that's what it is.
You can do that, but I didn't know that at the time when I was doing it. So on my hunter, I ran the there's like chest exotic that gives you 2 throwing knives.
Yes.
I put that on, and I went into like, I don't know, just patrol, and I would just like shoot like a drag in the chest, and it stuns them, and then you throw your throwing knife, get a headshot, it gives it to you back, and then you put on the dodge that gives your melee back. So if you ever like miss a bunch of your throwing knives, you just run up, dodge, you get your 2 knives back, and you can rinse and repeat. And it was just very cathartic to be like just throwing knife people for like, you know, a good hour, and just because like you're not doing it in PvP because those throwing knives are terrible.
Yeah.
Thankfully they're going to be getting some kind of buff, they said, and not a moment too soon, because they're rough. Yeah.
Wait, so warlocks don't have any way to like kind of speed things up like Hunter and Titan?
I think that what I did, I did it on my Arc Warlock, so I did it on a Stormcaller. There is one of the exotics, I think is one of the helmets, gives you like, you can do melee, and then you can chain it up to like 3 times, 3 stacks, melees and grenades, and so that can kind of regen your abilities quickly. So that can work, but yeah. Oh, I don't know if maybe it's for the grenade on the Dawnblade, and so I think it's like the top tree. When you're floating in air and you get kills, it regens your energy. I think that's for the grenade. I think I did that for that.
For the grenade one on the Warlock, I ended up doing the new revamped Sun Gauntlet things. That like when you melee something, you just throw a ton of grenades.
Yeah, those are nice.
That was fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Those are good too.
Exotic.
I do like the hunter tips though, because I'm such a noob hunter compared to like I just always running a Titan. So I was like, oh yeah, okay, do the dodge, get it back, stun them before I throw the knife. Okay, these are good tips. I'm gonna remember these.
All right, Justin asks, boxers or briefs?
I feel like
100%.
I feel like this question was asked last time Triple was on. It feels like.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Somebody's curious.
Either that or I just oddly know what Triple wears. I don't.
That would be odd.
Yeah.
It's got to be boxer briefs. Yeah, exactly.
There we go. Both. Why not both?
There we go. Of course.
It's 2018. You can have both.
Yeah, we can do whatever we want. There's. Never mind.
Biggest crossover in history, right there, folks.
Cryptic Dragon asks, when Forsaken comes out, what super will you be using the most out of the new ones? I'm gonna have to see them all in action first to really know.
I already know my answer.
I think we all need to play them.
Yeah.
The teleporting Warlock, where you teleport a bunch of times and then do like an AoE.
Like the new Void Warlock. Yeah, I think that one looks nuts. They all look pretty interesting and unique. Like the two that are like, I think the most interesting is the new the Void Titan, because you put up the shield, right, that blocks incoming fire, and then your teammates can shoot through it. So that could have a lot of implications for PvE and PvP. And then you essentially have like a dedicated support class with your Solar Warlock. You're buffing your teammates and healing them with your grenades, your melees, and your super. So that could be, maybe very interesting. Like, who knows what kind of team comps we'll see? Like, 4 of them just like instantly just buffing and healing each other. Like, you can't kill them. Who knows what kind of craziness is going to be in there?
The new bubble train instead of bubble
train.
In fact, you can shoot out of it.
I think that they're really kind of leaning into kind of the synergistic play styles and subclass, something with a little bit more depth that players can take advantage of. So I feel like just the whole game is going to be pretty cool. I think I will probably pick the Void Hunter just because I missed my
That's what
my
I
blade
want to
dance
try out.
from D1,
Yeah.
and it looks really cool.
It looks really cool.
The Arc Warlock shooting the laser beam, that seems to be really neat as well. I want to try that. And then I got to play when I played Gambit, the new Striker where you take off like a missile. That
missile.
thing's really fun. It's really fun.
I was surprised in the stream how far, because in the live playtest stream of the new weapon,
he
went so
really far. Yeah, you have a lot of like momentum, and then like anything you collide with midair just instantly dies. So that could be other supers or just players flying around, and then when you land, it's a big smash too. So yeah, I love it. That was one of the biggest surprises for me, is that they were willing to do like 9 new supers.
Yeah,
I love that.
It's crazy. I think for me, I'm super excited about the one Triple was just talking about, the new Striker Titan, because that just looking at it just makes me think of all the D1 plays from running the tree or the perks on the Striker that let you like jump extra far, and so you kill people like from so far away when they were not expecting you to leap that far, and so I feel like
it was like Shockwave was one of them, to send out that attack too. So yeah, Striker's finally getting some love, because Striker in D2 is kind of underwhelming, to be honest.
You got your double nades. That's about it.
Yeah, that's the best part. Is the double grenades.
Yeah, I am also really curious. We haven't seen much of it. I feel like we've seen a lot more of the others, but the hunter that throws the knives and stuff, like I want to know how that super works. I feel like we haven't seen it enough, and I saw people getting kills with it on the stream, but the camera was never on them when it was happening, and I was like, how does this work?
Game Informer had some footage of it. It looks pretty cool. Basically, it's kind of like a Nova Bomb style, like you just trigger it and it's sending out damage right in front of you, and you send out like 2 volleys of knives, kind of in a horizontal pattern. So like if you have a bunch of enemies lined up, it's just going to shred them all, and you could like 180 and take out another group behind you.
Nice.
So that. I think that's a kind of a cool way to augment what we come to expect from the gunslingers, and I think that's might be even better for boss damage, because they said it can like focus one target, and then you don't have to worry about aiming, because it's kind of doing it for you. So
my kind of super. Yeah, let's do that.
Easy.
That's why I run the Striker. You would slam people in D1, instant kill everything. Right? Yeah. And I was playing with Rex and HGX from Rezo this weekend and one of them forgot that they were running the Sentinel tree that drops the bubble, and so we were playing the mission with all the Chosen at the end, where you're jumping from platform to platform, and he jumps and he was gonna Sentinel and he just drops straight down doing the bubble to his death. So that was great. Reminiscent of D1 Titan
Yeah, you
slams.
do. That was one of my favorite clips of all time.
Yeah, Pantheon, I think it was.
Yeah.
He bubbled right off the edge of the map.
No, he thought he was a bubble, and instead he slammed off the edge.
My first game of that day playing with TV2, because I was playing as Bubble the entire time before that.
That's great.
Decided to switch it up. But I'm kind of looking forward to it. Every time new content comes out, I'm a Warlock first. I don't really know why, but I always jump on my Warlock first.
And they're never not good. They're a safe choice.
No doubt. But in the which campaign was it where Ikora Ray did the multiple laser thingies, and I got really triggered, because I'm like, why can't I do that? She had the nipple lasers.
Osiris.
That she opened up. Was it Osiris? Nipple unleashed her nipple lasers, and I got really pissed. I'm like, I'm stronger than you. I saved the universe multiple times, but I don't have.
I'm a god slayer. How come I can't do that?
Honestly, but now for Arc, I get the body laser. So
laser, the full anime.
So the full body someone, like the personification of bodying someone right now. I'm kind of curious about that. Well,
this is kind of off the question, and we've mentioned it before, but Triple, you brought up, kind of the support classes and some of the synergy and stuff. I think it's really cool that they're kind of embracing a little bit of the like Overwatch style play. Like, you have a lot of things are similar, like the Warlock grenade that heals. It's kind of straight out Overwatch. The Arc Warlock super is a lot like, Moira's in Overwatch. You
have the Sentinel, Reinhardt, you have the shield.
There's a lot of stuff like kind of coming over from there, which a lot of it's kind of support based stuff. So I really do think that's cool.
It's not hard class based gameplay.
Yeah.
Because I think that is very much a different type of game.
Absolutely.
And Destiny should remain a more traditional shooter in that sense. But I like that they're trying to deepen that and give maybe some more specific roles that players can use. And yeah, I think it's great. I can't wait to see how it all shakes out. And then of course some of the existing subclasses are going to get some buffs. Like we talked about, Gunslingers getting 2 more seconds on both trees, and buffed throwing knife damage. The Night Stalker is going to have a faster activation of the tether, so that's supposed to be a lot better at shutting down things. And the Transcendence for Stormcaller is getting a damage buff. So
that's good.
And then one of the devs had also mentioned that the Ward of Dawn was going to get a buff too. So
big buff, I think he said.
Yeah. So it's great that they're going to show some love to the rest of the attunements, because who wants to leave all of them behind? Everyone's going to understandably be excited about all the new stuff, but you want to have a kind of a diverse and fairly balanced set to choose from. So I can't wait to see how it all works. I mean, Dawnblade, at least on PC, is insanely strong still. I feel like that's still going to be up there. And you got Sentinel with like the Syntheseps, which is just disgusting.
So good.
As someone who abuses it constantly, I just it's interesting. And then you got Arcstrider with the Worm Husk and all these things. And yeah, well, I think it's going to be cool. Some of the new exotics that they're bringing, you have like the double dodge roll for the hunters, and you got some of these other ones like the Titan one where you can slide and then reflect projectiles.
I love that.
That looks great, because I don't know how many of you even messed around with it in D1 when they added the sword the artifacts where you could block with the sword. And I have a clip where I blocked a Goldie right back at a dude and killed him.
That's awesome.
And that's probably like the best clip I've ever saved. And I look forward to maybe doing things like that again, because I think that's really cool.
Dude, I'm so excited about some of the stuff you just talked about. There's so many things that remind me of cool things from D1, but like even slightly like seem even cooler. Like I wonder if the Titan like knee pad blocking shield is going to reflect, like, is it going to reflect bullets like shotgun shells? Because that would be so good for slide shotgunning. That would be insane.
Yeah, I have no idea. I would assume that it's more like the projectile based things, so like supers, rockets, grenade launchers, things like that. But I mean, still sounds like it's going to be pretty strong, and when used right could come up with some really cool stuff.
And then that sword too that flings a projectile. It looks like on the stream they pulled it out, and it goes for a long ways. Like it didn't like it stopped. It reminded me of in D1 the art exotic sword that you could fling that thing around like Legend of Zelda style. Yeah, Boltcaster. That looked pretty awesome. And the new one looks like it might move even faster than that and more accurate. You can use it in the air, which you couldn't with the.
You could throw on your Lion Rampants and then you skate around with that, and then you're basically like a Titan Dawnblade, just flinging down death. So I love that. I think that they've reached a point of maturity for the series that they can kind of see what cool exotics can be used in unorthodox ways and just kind of expand the players' kind of possibilities, right, of the sandbox, why they call it a sandbox. So I'm and they only showed a very kind of select number of exotics. The rumor is that there's going to be like upwards of 15, and
I think they did say
in one
of those
they're
interviews.
Going to have a few. Yeah, they're going to have a few like hidden ones for quests and things that they'll keep secret. And yeah, I love it. That like the first, let's say, month of a Destiny release is truly an exciting time.
Dude.
And it seems like they're getting back more to those with some of the hidden stuff, like the Whisper.
With Whisper, yeah.
So.
And with this whole in-game destination place, Triple mentioned it earlier, but like having a whole place that's made for like lore and puzzles and stuff.
I would say another really cool thing about that is they can kind of put, I don't know that they will, but it opens up the possibility of some more like really crazy, whether it be highlight or just off the wall kind of public space events, because you can't get in there presumably until you hit endgame, right? So it's not like a level 2 person is going to be running around.
An endgame destination,
right? So you would assume that you can't get there right away. Like, it's the end game.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you can put some crazy stuff in there and not have to worry about it throwing off someone who's just trying to complete the story or do a patrol or whatever. So, I don't know that they will, but I feel like that opens up that possibility to really do something different in there.
Mm-hmm.
Love that.
Like, how much more time are you giving me?
I was going to say that sounds like a pretty good place to end it. We're reaching the 2-hour mark here. And if you had like one more you wanted to spit out, maybe, but I'm like super hyped after all that Triple just talked about.
I mean, there's a bunch more, and they're all kind of long. I have one more that's kind of a quick question.
Let's do one more quick one and then end it because I want to end on a high note. I'm getting pretty hyped.
Wilson always ends everything on a high note.
It's true, man.
Well,
the second one today.
Nubtron asks, will hand cannons be meta come Forsaken? Also, last word. Will it be there? Well, I hope so, and I hope so.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. I hope so for both of those, too. They showed basically 3 of the 4 archetypes in the stream. And we got a good look at the damage numbers, and they gave us an idea of how much lethality those were going to come with. My only concern is that as of right now, what they showed is going to be largely affected by how much resilience the players have. So, like for example, the aggressive frame, so the very high impact 110 RPM, that was capable of killing in 1 headshot and 2 body shots, but you throw in like 1 or 2 resilience, and that automatically becomes a 2 headshot, 1 body shot requirement, making it a harder weapon to use. Likewise, the Better Devils 140 RPM was a 2 headshot, 1 body shot, but again, you throw in like 1 resilience, and then that becomes a 3 headshot requirement. Otherwise, you're gonna wind up needing 4 shots. So I think unless they're changing how resilience works, which I find unlikely, they might need to tweak some of those damage numbers a little bit so that they can kind of guarantee a certain amount of like headshot to body shot ratio, which I think is important, and even more so for console because it is a little bit harder to aim with a controller than a mouse. So for like me on PC, I feel like hand cannons are significantly going to be better than they are now.
Right.
I'm not convinced that they're necessarily going to be the meta. I think pulses are going to be really strong still, like talking about Redrick's probably being a 2 burst. So it depends. I have a feeling that they're more willing to respond to feedback on a quicker time base now, and I wouldn't be surprised if we actually got another patch not too far after Forsaken drops, because I feel like they're ready to respond to any major balance issues. I could be totally wrong. We might be 7 months later before we get to another patch. That's been a frustration for us with the series, is that who knows how long we have to wait before something gets better or gets toned down or all these things. It's been something that's been rough. But they have spoken specifically about how they're separating Crucible from content releases and how they're trying to treat it more as its own thing, and hopefully that will translate to them being able to update things faster and all that. But yeah, I mean, either way, it's going to be a big step in the right direction, and as long as they have last word in there somewhere, I'll just be happy to run that with my sniper. And
I was just gonna say,
back,
like,
baby.
going back, is there a more? This is kind of a question, Lego, but it's for me. Is there a more iconic and fun loadout in all of Destiny so far than Last Word Sniper? Like, even just to watch someone like do the flip, fanfire, pull out a sniper.
I mean,
it was just so badass looking though. Like, even if you knew nothing about Destiny.
Last Word for the first time in one of the launch trailers for Destiny, and it's in there for a very short, a tiny clip, and I just I want that. I need that. Well, what is that? That is amazing, and I didn't get Last Word for quite a while, but once I finally did, I was just falling in love, and I never took it off really. So even more recently, I've hopped on D1 just so I could use that gun again.
Wow.
We ran some private matches, and we would all use Last Word, and it's it's nerfed beyond belief from what it used to be, but it's still fun. It's just such a satisfying, visceral, Old West feeling that you don't find in a lot of games. So I would love for them to bring it back, because it fits a very unique place in like the kind of the sandbox for providing you a close range weapon that you can pair with a sniper, so that you're not so defenseless. Like, and even like the Luna's Howl that we saw looks great. It's like a 3-tap 180 RPM hand cannon, but it's not going to put a shotgunner down in the same way that a last word hipfire could.
Yeah.
And so I think it's one of the very few weapons that's like, yes, I want that back. I want that specific weapon back, because it did something that is entirely unique, and they would have to basically just make the last word again if they were going to try to fill that role. And it's like, all right, well, just give us last word.
Just bring it back.
Yeah.
It's like the animation's already in the game, right? For 6-shot.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Well, and for Cade's gun, right?
And that the Fanfire perk was data mined, so it's like it's in D2 somehow. So I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean anything on its own, but it could suggest that. I mean, look, this entire expansion is themed around like the Wild West, right?
Yep.
So it just fits, and so I wouldn't be surprised if we see it back. I certainly hope so. Yeah, I love me some hand cannons.
Nice.
Well, hopefully they reimagine it. Maybe call it the first word or something. You know.
Yeah.
They already have that. It's called the first curse.
Yeah, first curse.
That's true.
But yeah, I just want it back, pretty much.
Yeah, no. Even as someone who like didn't do snipers a whole lot in D1, like moved to fusion rifles pretty quickly, like there's a good portion of my D1 experience that I can attribute to like just the last word in that sniper rifle. Like, such a good feeling.
Like, I could picture so many times, and I'm not even like, the best PvP player in the world or anything, but like someone comes running at you and or like you snipe somebody, you quickscope someone, immediately switch because there's someone else running at you, fan fire them down, and like it was just, I don't know, there was nothing like it.
Experience.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, how many games can replicate that?
Yeah.
It's like, we love that. That's Destiny at its best, creating those types of moments.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, Triple, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight, man. We really appreciate you taking the time to do it, dude.
Not at all. It was great. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have like 6 more hours of things to talk about, but it won't let me.
I'm restricting him right now. This has been Lego Flash, aka Lego. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube at Lego LE Hove. Where can they find you?
Right here, twitch.tv/Hove76. I promise I'm gonna stream again one day, maybe. And Twitter, Hove76. Mana?
You can find me at the Manigator on Twitch, always streaming. You can find me raging on Twitter at the Manigator. Maybe one day on YouTube again.
Yeah, you won't.
Sometime.
Nah.
Probably not. Wilson, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Ryu Wilson. That's RYU Wilson. And you can also find me catching this Bulbasaur right now.
He's playing Pokemon Go.
Thanks.
Nice.
Triple, where can everybody find you at?
Yeah, so I'm just TripleWRECK on pretty much every site. Even MySpace, Friendster, all those really good social media places. Yeah, that's right.
I'm gonna go for that top 8, man. You can also find RezoCast at RezoCast on Twitter. And you can find more about Team Resolute at Team Resolute on Twitter. If you've been listening to this podcast on iTunes, man, we'd really appreciate if you would leave us a review if you'd enjoyed it. Leave us a YouTube comment. We'd love to hear from you. This podcast is sponsored by Blue Microphones and Headphones. Thank you guys so much. We'll be doing another giveaway soon.
I would say keep a lookout, because I think I'm going to open it up tomorrow, and it'll run for 2 weeks until the 30th, which is A, our last episode before Forsaken, and B, our 100th episode. So that'll be our next giveaway for Blue, your choice of Blue Yeti or Blue Lola's, right? Lola headphones?
Yeah. And we'll be announcing that on Twitter and on the podcast. So keep a lookout. And I think that is it for this week. This will be the first week I ever didn't use both. I only used one of my words. I was so bad today. What?
Same.
What?
I had so much I wanted to actually talk about.
Hey, we didn't announce that at all, but if you've been listening and looking out for word insertion or conversation penetration, and you managed to name, we didn't say all of them. We said like what, like 9 out of.
I said
so
1.
No. Like 9 of the words, then you will get.
But I don't even know if 9 were said, is what I'm saying.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, if you name 5 this episode,
okay, deal.
You will get this special edition Cade 6 figure that Wilson has offered up as tribute. And yeah, just leave it in a comment on YouTube or in a review on iTunes. And I think that's it, guys. Until next time, GG.
Bye.
GG.
Bye.
Re-rees.
Bye.
Yeah, you are.